Well, let's see. Let's bring in the great Dan Shaughnessy, who writes for the Boston Globe. You see Dan all over the place. Dan, Harold and Fran, always good to talk to you. What do you think here is going to happen with Mookie? So far, they're saying that the extension talks have not happened. Do you think things are going to start to heat up?
I'd be surprised if the Sox lock him in to a long-term deal. It just doesn't feel like that. I think Mookie's a player who wants to find out what's out there. He's obviously on the ascent. He has great value. He's an MVP. He's young. He's healthy. All of his numbers are high. His WAR is off the charts, all that stuff. He's a big commodity, and I think he wants to find out what that's worth on the market.
Hey, Dan, yesterday I went into this and I said it's not that tough of a decision. You go ahead and you offer him what you think he's worth. He takes it.
Yeah.
Great. If not, you trade him. So that's just my assessment. How do you look at it?
Well, it's a really interesting question up here because the fans love him so much, and why wouldn't you? I mean, there'd be a lot of blowback if they deal him, and for 1 year of Mookie Betts, you're not going to get, you're going to get dimes on the dollar for that, and I think that there's some reluctance there to do that. Last year, maybe it would have worked out better when he had 2 years left. He could have done it then. Obviously, you could go into the season, see how things go, and at the deadline in July, do it then. Now you're talking about 2 months for Mookie Betts. Who's going to give you how much for that? So they may have waited too long in terms of dealing the player in this case. They may be better off to just ride it out, let him have one more great year for them, still try to sign him, and if he walks, take the draft pick.
All right, so for New England fans, I'll tell them to plug their ears on my question here. My question, and I'm curious about your answer. Who's going to be in Boston longer, Tom Brady or Mookie Betts?
Wow.
Boy, that's good, Harold. I like that. I'm going to say Tom Brady. I mean, just because I think Brady will probably play next year. And Brady could retire at the end of this year. I don't think Brady's going to play for another team, another franchise. He could retire after this year. In that instance, Mookie's still playing here next year, I expect.
Well, what about J.D. Martinez? Were the Red Sox caught off guard that he decided not to opt out of his deal?
I got to think they knew what was coming. In the media, those of us at the World Series, Harold and I, we talked about this. Everybody talked about this. There was the notion that he was going to go. People talking about, he had something going on with Chicago, the White Sox, the Rangers, the Yanks, etc. But, with Scott, I don't know what the legalities are of tampering, but they always know what's out there. When J.D. Drew walked away from the Dodgers, he knew the Red Sox had a better deal waiting for him. I don't think in this instance they could find anything better. So he's there because they couldn't find anything better, so he opted in. So they got him next year. I got to think the Sox had to be prepared for that. They're a pretty smart organization. So as much as we were chirping about, JD's going to opt out, they must have known. I would hope they weren't taken totally by surprise when that happened on Monday.
All right, this may take a long answer for you, so take your time on this one. But, Bloom comes in, and there's been a lot of talk about trying to get under that luxury threshold of $200 million.
Yeah.
So what do the Red Sox do? Is it David Price combination? What do you see them doing, or is that even going to happen?
Harold, this is the big question around here, and it is a huge issue because Bloom is being asked to come in here and perform a miracle, which is, lop $35 million off the payroll, hold on to all your assets, and be competitive next year. It doesn't work. It makes your head explode. The math doesn't work. They have $80 million tied into Eovaldi, Sale, and Price for each of the next 3 years. JD has opted in. That's a 22 number. Mookie's, as you said, going to be a 27 number. You just locked in Bogaerts at a very team-friendly deal. He's on the ascent. I've heard crazy stuff that they'll have to trade Bogaerts to keep Betts. That's crazy. Bogaerts is on a really team-friendly contract. He had a great year after signing it. 27-year-old shortstop with 2 rings. You've got him locked up. You keep that guy. So I just, there's going to have to be some movement here, and it's going to be up to Chaim Bloom to figure out how to make this math work. It doesn't work in my head.
If they win, does it matter?
If they win, it doesn't matter, but you're going to, if you can win one more with Mookie Betts, folks are going to take that and then still try to sign him. You probably won't be able to. But I'm of the mind that to trade him for dimes on the dollar at this point is not worth. I'd rather see him stay here one more year, get another great year out of him, take your chances on signing him. You're probably not going to be able to.
How surprised, Dan, were you with just the development of Rafael Devers last year? I know he's still a baby, but, I mean, he made a significant leap a year ago.
Not that surprised, and this is one where I was surprised Benintendi didn't do better. But I've always loved both of them. Devers, to me, I mean, you go back to when he turned around Chapman throwing 103 miles an hour in the Sunday night game. I mean, right then you knew. And this kid is confident. He saw a lot of high fastballs he was biting on. He kind of figured that out. But he is a great hitter, a great young hitter, learning more plate discipline. And it's all there. There was a lot of hooting on his defense early in the season. I thought that was overrated. He can make the plays. He's a little sloppy sometimes out there. He also took care of himself physically. He got in way better shape. He lost 20, 25 pounds coming into last season. Doesn't get enough credit for that. Young guy, he really turned it around, and it's all ahead of him.
So we're what, basically, I think 2 years into Alex Cora now, the manager up there. What's his impact been on this club, and what do you see moving forward?
Yeah, nothing stuck to him last year. He didn't get any heat for the collapse. They had a really horrible year last year. They were like 12-29 against teams with winning records. It was bad. The same cast of characters that won 119 games came back and stunk it up. 6 games over 500, 19 behind the Yanks, 12 behind the Rays. It was bad, with the highest payroll in baseball, I might add. So all that happened, and Cora skated through. He's good. He's good with us. He's a media guy like yourself. He knows how to do it, and and he's a stand-up guy, and the whole bit. He's a very confident guy. He didn't get any blowback for the year that they had. That'll get tougher this year if it were to happen again. So he's going to find out what it's like to be in Boston this year.
They're getting soft in Boston. They're getting soft up there.
Yeah, there is a little bit of that. We're doing our best, but you're right about that to a degree. But I think he'll get a little more of a measure of it this year. He's equipped to handle it too. He's a big fella.
I worked in that town for 3 years. You guys are tough, man. He did win a World Series year one, right? I mean, you get a little credit for that, Dan, huh?
Go call Dave Dombrowski. He won 118 games and was fired 11 months later.
That's true. That's true.
Hey, real quick, you mentioned Andrew Benintendi. A lot of talk about Jackie Bradley Jr. Potentially he could be a player who's on the move. Do you see him being dealt this offseason?
Yes, absolutely. And it's time. They waited a year too long on that. He was MVP of the ALCS last year. That was the time. Trade high on him. Came back and hit 225 again this year, 155 punch-outs. Again, good player, not a great player, not a $13 million player, which is probably up for 12 or 13. And when you're looking at trying to lop off, $35 million, you start there. He is gone.
Whew, now that's the Boston I know right there.
Unbelievable. Real quick before we say goodbye to Dan, I was there working at the NBC affiliate from 95 to 98. These are the writers I read in the Boston Globe on a daily basis. So Mr. Shaughnessy, Jackie McMullen, Lee Montville, Bob Ryan, Will McDonough, Ron Borges, Peter Gammons, the late great Nick Cafardo. I mean, that was every day.
Yeah.
That was every day in Boston.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's good stuff.
We've been very blessed with really great people here, and we miss Nick every day.
No doubt.
No doubt about it.
Dan,
hey, Dan, thanks, man. We'll see you at a Celtic game somewhere. All right?
Thanks, guys. Thank you.